Okay, so good evening and welcome to Diary of a Scentsy Consultant. Let me just spotlight myself and Emma. So let's spotlight. There you go. Hello. Hello. Right, okay, so then I can see you and I can concentrate on where I'm focusing on. So, okay, welcome to Diary of a Scentsy Consultant. I wanted, if you've never listened to this before, obviously, some of you may be listening to this live or you may be listening to this back, but I wanted to start this program and interview various different Scentsy consultants just to show that we have a whole diverse range of people across our business, not just within our team, but right across the business, from a whole range of different backgrounds, different experiences, and just so you can see that it's not one particular type of person that can be successful as a Scentsy consultant. There are a lot of similarities, people that are driven, etc., but there are people from loads and loads of different backgrounds that do this. So I wanted to bring together loads of content that we can share with team members so they can see that actually you can be successful regardless of your background. So this evening I am interviewing the lovely, I very, very nearly said Emma Rogerson. I do apologise. Not your name anymore. The very lovely director, Emma London. And I'm actually going to stop there. So I'm going to hand over to you. So thank you. Obviously, I probably know a lot of the answers to these questions, Emma, but I am going to act if I don't, and I am going to hand over to you. So firstly, introduce yourself, tell us how long you've been with Scentsy and a little bit about yourself and your family life and things.
Okay. So yeah, I am Emma London, previously Rogerson. So I got married last year in Gretna Green, if you didn't know that. I joined Scentsy in 21st of April 2021 after stalking Laura slightly, but I'll tell you about that in a minute. And so I've been doing it nearly 2 years now, which is crazy. But yeah, I other than Scentsy, I am mum to Emily, who is 8 going on 18. She's now in bed because I was like, I've got a cold, you need to go to bed. Plus she's going swimming tomorrow and it's really early. And then I am stepmom now to Isabel and Max. Max is 6 and Isabel is 10. So our family sort of ballooned overnight. But yeah.
And a very excitable beagle.
Oh my God, Bonnie, yeah, she's an absolute nightmare. She's asleep at the minute though. She's quite happy to sleep now.
Oh, I love that. Okay, so my next question was going to be, when did you join Scentsy? But you've already told us that. So, why did you join Scentsy? What made you join? What made you click that join button? And why Scentsy? What's your background previous to Scentsy?
So some may know this, some may not. I used to do another network marketing company, and the lovely Laura knew my upline from another coaching course that she did outside of Scentsy, and she didn't come in to poach me by any intention of poaching anyone. But
oh no.
No, you didn't. But you did a live about mindset into our group, and at the time I'd been diagnosed with anxiety in April 2020 due to childhood trauma. So I was dealing with a lot of stuff, and I wasn't dealing with it very well. That I now know now that I wasn't dealing with it very well. So you did a live on mindset, and I literally watched it about 5 times because it massively resonated with me. And so then I had a little look at what you were doing. I can't remember if I did you as a friend or I went into your customer group, or I can't really remember how it.
Yeah, I think you messaged me and said you wanted to order some presents for your sister.
Yeah, so obviously I knew what Scentsy was at that point because I didn't actually know what Scentsy was. I had to Google it.
Okay.
I don't know what this is. And then I was like, oh, because I didn't at the time, I'd stopped using candles because I was so paranoid that the kids were going to knock them off.
Yeah.
And burn everything. So I'd stopped using candles, and I was a massive candle fan. Used to be, not anymore. So, so I thought, oh, my sister's moving house, I'll buy something and just see what it's all about. So I did, and I got a sample pack. And then I literally watched all of the YouTube videos. I literally was a stalker.
Do I need to be scared now? And that, yeah, and what was it? And I know, like you said, I
kept talking to Chris. I kept saying to him, oh, it's a bit different. Like, the compensation plan was completely different to the company that I've been with. You could tell that the compensation plan for Scentsy was sort of geared around you doing the job of a consultant, not just getting paid on your team, if that makes sense. And that was massively different. And for me, that sat better with me, because I've always been one to graft, always, and always been one to, I'm not shy of hard work. I never have been. So for me, knowing that I had to get 500 PLV, obviously at the time I didn't know what PLV was, but knowing I had to get 500 PLV, 500 PLV to get paid on a team and that sort of thing, that was massively different. And I thought, and Chris was like, well, you just join. I was like, oh, come on. I was like my other upline, I was like, I can't do that. I was like, I've got a team, and I just qualified for the first part of a travel incentive in that company. So there's 3 parts to their travel incentive, and I qualified for the first part, and that was the Maldives. Wow. And the Maldives was always a place that I wanted to go. So it was like, oh, I don't know. But I literally couldn't get it out of my head. I could not get Scentsy out of my head. And then the wax came, and I was like, oh, Jordan.
You were like, right, do you know what? I didn't know that. And that's really similar to my story. So I was with another company first, and I never make any secrets about that. And I always say, like, the first relationship that you're in your life is not necessarily the relationship that you're going to stay in forever. And that's how I kind of felt. And I'd actually earned a cruise with my previous company, and with that one, you earned the trip, and then you had to pay for your flights to get there. And I'd actually booked a flight to Miami to get on a cruise ship. Wow. And I cancelled it because I just knew, like, in my heart, I didn't want to do it anymore. And I thought, why am I going to go on a trip and spend a week with people that I'm not actually going to be, with this company anymore? So what I mean is, I think sometimes it's that gut feeling, isn't it? I always say, like, your gut feelings are your guardian angels. Like, when you just know, don't you, sometimes?
Yeah. And I couldn't get it out of my head. Literally, I was thinking about Scentsy. I was looking at the compensation plan constantly. I'd watched your videos and stuff and things like that. And I just thought, you know what, I need to give it a go.
Yeah.
So I did.
You did. And you handled it beautifully, I have to say. I feel like it was, we did everything above board. We spoke to your upline.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I spoke to her. That was really hard, that conversation.
It was, but do you know what? I think that's a really good example of, sometimes in life, like, you have to have the uncomfortable conversations, you have to have the difficult conversations, because it leads you, to where you're supposed to be, or, so sometimes I think, it was handled beautifully, and here you are 2 years later, and the rest is history. So what previous to, I know you were with another network marketing company, but aside from network marketing, what jobs, career, what's your kind of, like, career history since, like, leaving school, college? What path has your career taken up to this point?
So I've done all sorts. All sorts. I left I left home just before my 16th birthday. So I moved out just before my 16th birthday. So I was quite independent from a young age. And I worked in a sports shop, and I flipping love that job. It's where I get my addiction to trainers from.
Well,
I know, it's ridiculous.
What sports shop was it?
I used to work for Sports Direct, and then I worked for First Sport, but they went bust.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, but yeah, Sports Direct when it was sports soccer back in the day.
Oh no, because I worked for JD Sports, like, back.
How did you?
Yeah, like when I was.
I loved it. It was one of my favourite jobs, but I knew it wouldn't pay the bills. Bearing in mind I was living independently at the time. Not a lot of people know that I left home at just before my 16th.
No, I didn't know that.
No. So I needed a job, and one that paid quite well. Like I said, I was working there, but it just wasn't paying enough. No, as much as I loved it, it just wasn't going to pay the bills. So I started working in a solicitor's office, is what they used to call an office junior. And I always remember my first salary was £5,000 a year. £5,000.
Wow.
Which is ridiculous. I was like 17. And so my background is been consistently like solicitors officers, I've been a secretary, and then I worked my way up, and now I'm a paralegal, so I run files, and I still do that job now.
Okay, so that was going to be my and that was my next question I've actually written down. Are you still doing that now? So you obviously run your Scentsy business and have built your business to director around you know, another job, family life, which so it is obviously totally possible. How many days a week do you work?
So when I started, I used to work 4 days a week, but I built my Scentsy business to a point where I could drop a day at work, so I now work 3 days a week, thank God. So yeah, the aim is to leave and do Scentsy full time, because that's always, for me, that's always been a goal, to work from home and have that time freedom. That was always my goal. But yeah, so I've managed to drop down to 3 days, which is
amazing. And
amazing.
You know, like we always say, like, it's really important to have like the big crazy life goals, which is brilliant, but you know, you've got to have those smaller goals and then smaller things that you're ticking off along the way as well. So the fact that in 2 years you've managed to drop a day at work is absolutely amazing. So up to this point, what has been your biggest wow moment in Scentsy? Like, what's been in the last 2 years? If I said to you, like, at what point have you just gone like, wow, I'm in the right place?
Do you know when it was? And you'll laugh. I was thinking about this today, and I was thinking about it really hard, and I was thinking, oh my God. And you know what it was? Do you know when we were on the cruise in Norway and we were on top of that ship and it did a 360? Then I was just like, this is ridiculous. I was like,
it was
literally in my head, I was just like, I can't believe I'm actually here, like in there, and I earned it. I was just like, oh my God. So yeah, then that was like my biggest wow. Like I don't even know why it was there, because we had so many good experiences on that cruise, but that one moment was just,
I think that is like the power of it being like so unique and individual to every single person, because there's loads of, you know, like I've been on various trips, and there's loads of, you know, things that people might think, oh, that, you know, that massive moment or that massive show or something might stand out, but when it's special to you, that's what makes it really personal. And that was a real wow moment. Like, it didn't look real, did it? It was like something out of a film. It looked like a green screen on a film. So to stand there at 8 o'clock in the morning and be told, right, come on, you need to come up to the top of the ship, and it was really special. And the fact that obviously you earned that, it was cost you, these are like money can't buy trips though, so like that actually, that makes total sense to me. That different door and upstairs. Sorry. Oh, this is working from home live. It's my Tesco delivery. I forgot it was coming. All right, sorry. Right, okay, so amazing. And those are really like unique moments, because that's not something that happens in any job and, you know, any day of the week, does it? So that is what's really, really special. So are there any like standout like events or trainings that you've listened to that you would recommend to another consultant to watch for any reason on any topic? Is there any training that you've watched or an event that you've been to and you've just been like, wow, this is like changed my business?
Do you know what? There are so many. But for me, I remember when we were at SFR last year in London and Heidi Norville walked in. Now, I know that they're not in the business at the moment, but there were loads of keynote speeches on YouTube that you can watch. Listening to them speak is just like, oh my God. So, like, for me, especially, like, so I had a meeting 2 weeks ago with my day job, and the CEO was there in the room with us. And she asked me a question. I've been in that firm for 16 years. And she said to me, are you a new starter? I was like, no, I've been here for 16 years.
Oh my goodness.
She was, and I just thought, and the entire thing was just horrific. She was condescending, she was patronizing to people. It was all about stats, it was all about money, it was all about income, it was all about what we hadn't done. And I just sat there and I thought, oh my God. And then I listened to you. I think you did you do live when Heidi Noble spoke at World Tour? Just gone. Just now, yeah. Yeah. So I listened to that and I just thought, oh my God, like this, you can't, it's either end of the spectrum. Like just the way that they they are, the way that they carry themselves, the way that they, even Dan as well, obviously since Dan's taken over, the way that they speak about the consultants, they care, give a shit.
They do, like 100%. It is just a completely different. So I think I totally agree with you. I think anywhere that Heidi Novel speak, they just command the room, don't they? Like they just.
Yeah, I just remember them walking in. Obviously, I first met them at Southampton Cruise Port.
You did? Actually.
Which was ridiculous. And then I always remember this, and this sticks in my head massively. Obviously, Heidi had just had COVID, so she wasn't hugging.
Yeah.
Obviously, I got a hug from Orville, which was just surreal. And then she wasn't. But then we posted something, didn't we? And then she literally put on there, I really hope Emma has a nice time on her first cruise. And I thought, you know what? She didn't have to remember me.
No.
At all. Because she didn't even give me a hug or really speak, because she was obviously distanced because she'd had COVID. And I just thought, and that really stuck with me, and it's always stuck with me. And it literally popped into my head when I was talking to the CEO of my other firm, and I was just like, yeah, you're not hiding.
No, you are not.
It does. And it honestly, like, they just command a room that they're in. They really do.
And I just think, like you said, they have a really unique way of anyone I've ever experienced as well, of, you know, they connect with, do not know how they do it with all the thousands and thousands and thousands of consultants that they are, but they just have a way of connecting. And very similar to, like I said, when we got to Amsterdam and we got off the tube and we were rushing in, and I was all hot and bothered, and I had Finley, who was 6 months old, and they literally, like, we ran in, they were in the foyer of the hotel, and I was all hot and bothered and trying to pull the buggy through the door, and Orville just came over and he was like, "Are you okay? Can I take him? Can I hold him?" I was like, "Yes, please." Like, you know, and like, what other CEOs would do that and then check that the baby was all right, and we'd got in and we were all okay, like before we went in. So yeah, no, it is really, really special. And what's Caroline just said in the comments here?
Oh, I've not even looked at the comment.
We need you full-time, Scentsy. It's where you belong. Yes, it is. Okay, so next question. What would be the biggest tip that you would give to somebody when it comes to networking?
Be yourself. 100%. And don't worry about what you're going to say or who you are, or just be yourself. Like, I see so many people, it's so fake.
Yeah.
And you don't need to be. And, you know, it is nerve-wracking talking to new people and, you know, putting yourself out there, but nothing bad happens either, like, at all. It really doesn't. You know, what's in your head, that fear in your head, is a million times worse than anything that actually ever happens. Yeah. I know that for a fact.
Yeah, totally agree. In fact, that's really funny you said that. The podcast I was listening to this morning, Ed Milet was interviewing, I'll have to find it and share it. It's a woman who started as an actress, and she's gone into entrepreneurship, and I recognized the name, like she was quite famous. But anyway, she said that she was like, what I tried to teach my daughter is, she was like, there are far too many people in this world, and what stops them from doing anything is confidence. And she said, people don't realize, like, you literally can teach yourself to be confident. And I was like, yes. I was literally in the gym going like, yes, you are right. But she said, like, I said to my daughter, like, she said, I was on a beach with her daughter, and her daughter's a teenager, and she wanted to, like, there was a group of girls that were like her age, and she was like, just go and talk to them. And she was like, I can't talk to them. And she went, what is the worst thing that is going to happen? Like, if they literally turn around and shout in your face and tell you to go away, you're never going to see them again. Like, and she said, and that's not going to happen. I think they were on like holiday, and they were like, where they were like groups of similar friends, and, you know, the teenage daughter was just a bit nervous to go over, and she was like, I just keep telling her, like, just go and speak to them. And I thought the same totally applies in our business. Like, what is the worst that somebody can say? No, I don't want to smell it. I don't want to buy it. I don't want to join the business. Okay, no worries. On to the next.
Yeah, literally that. Yeah, literally, like, you just got to go for it, because if you don't, then you've always got what if, and that's worse.
Exactly. A life of no regrets. Okay, amazing. Thank you. What was your why when you joined?
So my why has always been Emily. So that's my daughter, obviously. And it's not just because of her. It's not just it's just because of her. There is a reason behind it. And again, it stems around my other job. She was 3, just split up from my dad. And so I was a single parent at the time. And my job is very pressured, very stressful. It's horrendous, to be quite honest. I don't even know why I do it, to be quite honest. It's just the way it is.
Well, you obviously need to be there at the moment.
Yeah. Yeah, and it is what it is. And Scentsy actually massively helped me with this job as well, because I actually kind of just leave it at the door now. Yeah. I'm able to do that, which is amazing. It's like liberating. But at the time that wasn't the case. I was massively stressed out. I was overworked. I worked at home, even though I wasn't getting paid. Like, if you worked out my hourly rate at the time, it probably was about £5 because of the amount of hours I was working compared to what I was getting paid. Yeah. And Emily wasn't very well. She has an issue with tonsillitis, but that's another story. And she was really poorly, but I had this massive thing that I had to do. It was really urgent, and I was like, so I dragged her into the office 6:30 in the morning, sat her on my office chair in a blanket and her pajamas and everything else. And I hate it. It breaks my heart when I think about it, but it happened. It is what it is. And then I did what I needed to do, and then I took her home. That night, she had a cerebral seizure, and she ended up in A&E. And I will never, ever, ever forgive myself for that. But at the same time, I will never, ever, ever let it happen again, ever. No. And I vowed from that moment that I would never put them before her. And so I always knew at that point that I wanted to find something that not take me away from her, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So that's why.
Wow. I didn't know that. That's really powerful. And really, and that is as deep as people need to go, isn't it? And that's when you've got a reason that every single day you're going to get up, and when it gets a bit tricky and when it gets a bit hard, like, you have to remember why you're doing it. Thank you for sharing that and for being so honest and vulnerable. What is your why now? Like, I know you told me that, obviously not you told me, you've just said that obviously that has always been your why and that will always continue to be. Has it now evolved in, like, not to replace that, but has your why evolved into anything additional to that?
Yeah, massively. I'm not in that place now. So yes, I can still work there. And my aim has always been, randomly, so Emily didn't have to go to Breakfast Club. I know that sounds so stupid, but she hates it. Not hates it, that's a bit of a harsh word, but she would rather obviously me take her to school, clearly. Yeah. For obvious reasons. And I always promised her that would happen. And obviously that's gone down from 4 days to 3, so we're getting there. Yeah. Slowly. But so that's always been, and that always will be, my time freedom has always been my why. But since I've joined Scentsy and built a team, like, it's just evolved into helping other people. Like, I genuinely love helping my team and other people as well. Like, it doesn't even have to, I've had consultants message me that aren't in my team that have asked me questions, and I'll help anyone, at any point, because that's just what I love doing. And it does make you feel all warm inside. It really does.
And that's really special that you said that, because I think until people are in this industry and this business, it is really hard to understand, because externally people just think of network marketing and what we do. Oh, it's just about the people at the top and they're just earning loads of money off. It's actually, you cannot have success in this business without helping other people to have success. Yeah. And that is, you are right, that is what it's all about. It's having those arrows out and giving more than you take, like literally living by the Scentsy core values. And there is, like, it's amazing hitting promotions and earning incentive trips and all those things, but it's so much better when your team doing it. It's so much better when when we went on that cruise last year, like, and it's just there that there is, or when Caroline last week talked about her director promotion, honestly, I think we literally cried, screamed, drank champagne on FaceTime that night. Like, it's really special. And like you say, you start for a reason, and it's obviously a personal reason, because you don't have a team when you start, but it very quickly does evolve into something much bigger, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I have got what I would class as really, like, best friends in Scentsy that I didn't know 2 years ago. Like, it doesn't matter how long you've known somebody, it really doesn't.
Absolutely not. And I think the last 48 hours have totally proved that, like those events and the, you know, the energy and the, you know, what was created in those rooms is just, it is just so special. So, okay, amazing. What is your proudest moments in the last 2 years, or moments? And totally, like, don't be humble here, like you can totally be proud of yourself, like it's absolutely okay to be proud of whatever you've achieved. So what is your proudest moment so far in Scentsy?
It has to be reaching director in October, whenever it was. 2021.
2021,
October 2021, yeah, it was in 6 months. And then earning the incentive, which was not long after that. That was like ridiculous. Like ridiculous.
This isn't on my paper, but tell us about the incentive trip. Like, pretend I wasn't in a room with you drinking the lovely cup of tea that you used to make me, that I would fall asleep holding, and you had to go, down because you couldn't fall asleep.
It was just like, it was just so special, like just everything. So like look, I've got one of my room drops here, look.
That's in Ella's bedroom, she nicked it.
Emily's got one of the ones in the other room that I bought from one of the shops. But yeah, just everything, like me and Laura was sat at breakfast, and then like Dan's like, can I join you? And we were like, okay. It's just surreal, like the whole thing. And then I always remember like talking to Adi Mitchell. I can't remember where we'd stopped, but one of the ports, haven't we stopped, and we were talking to her, and she was telling us all about, you know, she was literally, and when I listened to Orville, and he was saying that the first incentive trip was like Adi Mitchell and another consultant, and I was just like, oh my god, I've met her. And it's just like, it is crazy. It's the most surreal experience I've ever been on, and that not just Norway, like the whole thing. But you know, the biggest thing, that group of girls we went with, you know, Nick and Lisa and Georgie and Laura Dakins and Laura Livingston, it was just like, they are friends for life. Like friends for life. I love them all dearly, and I miss them all dearly. You know, and that is just the biggest thing I'll take from that. It was amazing.
Do you know what it is? And it's so amazing to get other people's perspective about incentive trips, because exactly what you just said. So Adi Mitchell, for example, has been with Scentsy, I think, since the beginning. She was one of the very, very first consultants. And, you know, we just pulled up in this park. It was the day we were walking out to the glacier, and we stood outside the shop, and she was with Dorothy Thurman, who was actually like, I think Dorothy's like 113. Yeah. So she was very, very early on. And Dorothy Thurman is actually like our upline somewhere. And yeah, we stood there with these amazing women, and they're just normal people. Do you know what I mean? And that's what I love. It's like, you know, they've got these huge, ridiculous business. They've been doing this for like 20 odd years or however long it is. But yeah, Eddie actually told us the story of how, when they earned the first incentive trip, Orville, there was only like 4 of them, like 4 couples. So Orville actually called them and said, where do you want to go? And she was like, don't know, where do you want to go? And they went, I can't remember where they went, but it was somewhere Hawaii. I was going to say it was like the Maldives or something. And Orville Thompson taught her son to snorkel. And she was like, for the rest of his life now, when we're on holiday and he's snorkeling, looking at the fish, she was like, I can be like, oh my God, Orville taught him to do that. Like, how special is that? Like, what company CEO like rings his, and she said, like, I think he'd have a bit of a time now ringing everybody and going, where do you want to go? that might have a problem. But that is the type of person that is. So yeah, you are 100% right. As with anything, it comes back to the people. People join for the products, but they stay for the people.
Oh my God, yeah. Like,
it's there for the people. When you go to events, it's about the people that you connect with. When you go on incentive trips, it's about the people that you connect with. And then you start to see them again and again and again and again, and these relationships form. So no, it is really, really special. And you should be very proud of those moments, because they are amazing. Okay. Is there because we all know that, as I said this weekend, you know, grow the person, grow the business. We all know personal development is a huge part of this business. Is there a particular personal development book or audio book or podcast or anything that you've listened to that you feel is particularly like had an impact on your business?
Yeah, there's a few for different reasons as well. So when you did that live in my old network marketing group, you obviously spoke about the magic, and you read that paragraph in the magic,
Always.
which massively stuck with me. And I bought that book straight away and I read it. And gratitude has played the biggest part in my personal development from starting Scentsy to now. And you know, I've always thought of myself as grateful. You do, don't you? You think, I am grateful. Of course I am. But you know what? It wasn't until, I mean, I've practiced gratitude since I pretty much started Scentsy, but it actually wasn't until my friend had got some really bad health news, my best friend, from, I've known her for 16 years, and she's quite poorly at the moment. And she got some really bad news. It's actually not as bad as what we thought, thankfully, but at the time it was. And you know what? It was then that the penny dropped about gratitude. It literally dropped, and I was just like, oh my God, like I actually feel it in my heart now. Like it literally is right there. But it all started with the magic. Like it was just like, that was just a revelation, that book, completely. But the other one for me is Stephen Covey, which is The Circle of Control. I can't remember what the book's called. I've tried to find it and I can't find it. But I think it's seven steps or something. I can't remember.
It's the 7 habits of I have got it, and it's in that box.
Yeah, I've got it somewhere. I don't know where it is.
7 habits highly influential or highly successful people.
I think. Yeah, I think it is. Yeah. But The Circle of Control has been a massive game changer for me. Like I've literally got it here, guys, on my wall. I have it in my office. I have it on my desk at my other job as well.
Yeah.
Because it's just changed my life. Like I was the person that lost my shit all the time. And don't get me wrong, I still have days where I'm like, breathe. Because my anxiety kind of gets in the way a little bit. But for me, walking away from stuff and I did, and I can actually think of things where I've done that. Like my sister's a little bit of a princess, and she massively fell out of me over Christmas, and she sent me these messages and she was spoiling for a fight, and I literally said to her, I was like, I'm not going to have this conversation with you now. You need to come back to me when you've calmed down. And I literally left it at that. Whereas before we would have been like cat and dog.
Yeah, definitely.
And her response wasn't that great, but you know, that is what it is. But eventually she apologized. That worked.
Yeah, exactly. You know, you can only ever focus on what you can control. So the 7 habits of highly,
it's successful people, isn't it? I'm sure it is.
I can't remember. Dan actually told me about that book before I joined network marketing, when I was a fitness instructor, because he read it. His sales manager had recommended it years ago. So that's not a network marketing specific book.
No, it's not. I couldn't tell you what else is in the book. The Circle of Control is the one thing that I remember from that book. And that's the one thing that I've taken away from it and will forever use in my life.
Yeah.
So it's game changer. Massive.
The things are always going to happen, and we can't, you know, that is just life. But what we can't control them, but what we can control is how we react to them. So that is, really, really special.
Yeah.
Okay, amazing. Tell us something aside from income. What has Scentsy given to your life?
It goes back to the question we just asked. Personal development is what it's given me. I didn't do any personal development before Scentsy. None. You'd be lucky if I had a hot bath and had some time to myself. I did nothing, and I still do that. And I do things in the week, like at the weekend. I sit there and I literally do everything for everybody else before me. Make breakfast, do everybody else's before I do my own. Everything. So I've always been that person that's running around like a headless chicken, and then I do everything for myself afterwards. But now I make time for myself, and I that's a non-negotiable.
Yeah.
And it's probably 15-20 minutes, half an hour at the most in the morning, but that's my time. And everybody's like, no, you gotta wait. So.
And I think that's like historically, especially since, you know, when you have children and things, like, well, whether you have children or not, like whether you were married, got a partner, whatever. I think, I know that I always used to think, you know, I felt guilty, but like I always remember when Ella was really small, like if I went to the gym or if I went to an exercise class or you know, I did anything, if I went out, I always used to feel really guilty. And then like now, because I understand that, it literally baffles my brain that I ever used to think that way, because I just think every single thing in your life like factors on you being the best version of you. Because if you are, I certainly know, like if I fall apart, everything else around me does. So I'm not going to be the best mum, the best wife, the best friend, the best leader, the best business owner. Do you know what I mean? Like if you are not looking after you, everything else centers around that. So actually it makes complete sense to prioritize you and prioritize time. There's a guy that I follow on Instagram, and I don't even know how I ended up following him, but his name is, I don't know how you say it, but it's Xavier, so it's XAVI, Xavier the life coach. And his tagline, I haven't had coaching with him, but his tagline is me first, then you. And you always say to yourself, me first, then you. And he said that is before your children, before your husband, before your wife, before your partner, before anybody else. He said, because if you don't love yourself first, you can't love on those people. And I'm like, it just makes so much sense.
It really does. And I can't remember who I was listening to, but I was listening to a podcast, and they were saying that's why when an aeroplane goes down, they say put your mask on first, because if you don't put your mask on first, you can't help other people. And I thought, oh my God, that's like ball boss. Yes, I can't remember who said it, but I remember it.
It makes sense. I'm letting her make more time for me. 100%, Tina, you do. And because I think it's like with your health and with everything, like it really is what everything centers around. So no, that is really really powerful. Okay, do you have, and I know I sent you these earlier, so you hopefully had a little bit of time to think about this. Do you have a particularly funny first or inspiring story to share about your Scentsy journey? So maybe you've been on a live video at a party, just to show people that like funny stuff does happen, you know, and you've got to have fun with your business.
Yeah, I found this really, I'm not very good at recording stories. I'm really bad. But there is, and Caroline will laugh at this because I've shared this in directors group. Like I was at my friend's house, and so she has bowel cancer, and literally her whole life revolves around poo. Her whole life. I'm not even kidding. I went around the other day. She's like, look where I've put my fragrance flower on top of the cat lip. I was like, okay. She was like, it actually works. I was like, but not only that, she uses our scent soft, and she's going to be fuming that it's going. She uses it in her toilet to freshen her toilet.
Oh, does she?
As you can imagine, she goes to the toilet quite a lot because of her condition. Yeah, honestly, you have to laugh. Like the dark humour is ridiculous.
Yeah,
like, you just have to laugh, because if you didn't, it'd just be horrendous. But yeah, she uses our scent soft in her toilet, and she tells everybody.
Written 1 pump per poo.
1 pump per poo, exactly that. So I know Caroline will, 1 pump per poo. She's put that in the comments. Honestly, it cracks me up every time I go into a toilet. It smells amazing.
That's brilliant.
But yeah, that's what she does.
But you know what? I think exactly what you just said there, like, you know, having that mindset and having that, you know, you've got to have humor, you've got to have fun, because whatever's going on in life, like you can't, if you're not having fun, you're not doing it right. And you could, it's that thing, isn't it? If you don't laugh, you're going to cry. So I think that's brilliant. I think that's what, you know, that's what she's adapted, and she's like, right, I'm just going to put Scentsy on me.
She's like my best customer. She won't join for obvious reasons. but yeah, she is like my best customer. She absolutely loves Scentsy. She makes me laugh. But yeah, no, it always centers around poo every time. Brilliant. She's bought everything. She's bought Scentsy Go. She's got flowers in her bathroom. She literally, everything goes in her bathroom. She's living her best Scentsy life.
Amazing. And what about an inspiring story, like something where you've really like something that's like massively out of your comfort zone that you've done in your business, whether that's
this
but or something you know, that's you've been in somewhere where you've approached somebody that's resulted in being a customer or something like that, like where you stepped out of your comfort zone and it's resulted in a sale or a team member joining.
I've done it a lot over my nearly 2 years. There is no way I would go live regularly. Like going live into the 500 club the other day, no way would I have done that a couple of years ago. Not a chance. not a chance. Because there were the people in there that I don't even know. Like, I think you become accustomed, don't you? You do go live in your customer group, you go live in your team group, and you know the people there, you know the faces that are coming up as, you know, oh, not you, because you don't comment anymore. but you know, when people are coming up and you think, oh, you know, I know these people, I feel comfortable with these people. But to do it in a group where you don't know anyone, and then I don't think I've been live in Glitter Sparkle, but I have shared a live into there before, and even that I was like, shall I do it? No, yeah, I'll do it.
Oh, you will be soon, don't worry, I'll be making sure.
But you know what as well, there's still things I don't do. So I don't want people to think that just because I am where I am, it's because I go live all the time. I don't go live on my personal profile. And I saw what Katrina had wrote, Katrina McLean, and she'd gone live on her personal profile, and I was like, oh my god.
Yes, is out for dinner tonight. She did message me and she's like, oh my god, tell Emma I'm gutted that I'm missing a interview, but she's actually
she can watch it back. But yes, I don't know where she put it, but she put it that she'd been live on her personal profile, and that is what I need to do. That is what I need to do, because it literally terrifies me. So I want people to realise that it's not just them, you know what I mean? It doesn't matter what level you're at, things still terrify you. But you know what? Again, it's the thing, what's the worst that can happen? Nothing.
I feel like that when I go live, and I very rarely, I've probably been live on Instagram, like, can count on one hand, and it's really funny because I've got no problems going live, you know, in my customer group on Facebook, on my stories, standing up on a stage at the weekend. Like, that was nerve-wracking, but I don't know what it is. Something about going live on Instagram, I'd stumble over my words, I don't know, but I haven't gone live on my personal profile. I'll do it if you do it, Emma.
Oh, deal. Go on then.
Do you know what though? I think what it is, and I'm trying to think where she posted that the other day, because she was basically saying she wanted to, because obviously the people, it's a bit like the Jessie Lee funnel analogy, isn't it? Like, if you are in your customer group, you've built relationships with customers, got them into that customer group, and you know they're buying. Majority of people in your customer group have probably bought Scentsy from you. Sorry, I thought I was going to say. But if you go live on your personal profile, there's going to be people on there that have never bought Scentsy from you, might not even know that you do Scentsy. So it's reaching that wider audience, isn't it? Yeah. And the theory is the same. You know, you're just going live on social media and talking about it, but it's that little voice in your head that's going, who else is going to be on here?
Yeah, and it is that. It's the feeling that people are judging you, I suppose. People that, you know, aren't in your, like, my customer group and my team group and my safe spaces, you know what I mean? Glitter Sparkle especially as well. They're like safe spaces where, you know, you think I'm not judged. I know I'm not judged.
Yeah.
However, out there, it's like, ooh. So yeah, it's a bit scary. But you know what? I've removed that many people from my Facebook over the years that I just think to myself, there's probably no one left that's going to judge me.
You know what I find? What I found really interesting over the years is though that I've had people message me that I may have thought would have judged me, but have actually sent me really lovely. And sometimes, like, there was a lad I went to school with, and I remember I went live. This was like ages ago. I remember, and he messaged me and he was like, that was really good. He was like, you should be really proud of that. And I was like, oh, thanks. Like, you know, like, or I've had people, you know, say like, oh, you know, it's really inspiring or what. So actually pushing yourself out of your comfort zone, you actually probably don't know who you're going to be inspiring, and probably more people think, oh, I wish I had the guts to do that. Yeah. You know, like, it's I had a message I can't remember if I told you guys about this. I had a message from Finley's football coach, actually. He's been going to his football coach, basically saying he wants to put himself out on social media more, and he'd seen how, you know, and he was like, how do you overcome like worrying about what people think? And I actually told him to read The Magic and another book. But yeah, so what I mean is, I think sometimes it's that thing we create in our heads that actually isn't real. It's all up here, and it's just that, you know, it's that Mel Robbins 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, boom, and
yeah, definitely.
Okay, amazing. What is the best piece of advice? So if you were a new consultant, or somebody who's a new consultant starting the business today, what is the best piece of advice that you would give them?
Be consistent. That is 100% how I've built my business. Consistency. Like my team will tell you, like I use that word so much, it's ridiculous. I'm gonna have it tattooed on me, I'm telling you that. Honestly, but I can't even tell you how much that matters. Like, I mean, most of my posts, like I don't get bogged down with likes and comments. I don't care if people don't like and comment on my post. I really don't. And a lot of that is drummed into me by Chris, because obviously he does social media for his business. And he always says to me, he says it's vanity metrics, it's just vanity. You know, it doesn't matter. People see your stuff if you're consistent enough. And that's true, because I get messages saying, oh, I saw your post, can I order whatever? And I spoke to one of my customers, she's a friend as well, but she's a customer. And I said to her, I said, oh, I'm doing a WhatsApp broadcast, do you want to be added? She was like, oh yeah. She's like, I always check your group. She never comments.
No.
Never comments. But she always checks my group. So yeah, consistency is what built my business, 100%.
Because people are always watching. People, they might not always like, they might not always comment, but they're seeing.
Hey, I do that. I've scrolled sometimes and I look and I think, oh, I like that. I never like it because I just forget.
That Northern girl that you were watching and scrolling and stalking, you know, 2 years ago, never liked your stuff. But here you are.
That's because you knew I was stalking you though.
No, I know. I'd be like, oh, who's this person? So yeah, exactly. So yeah, be consistent. And I think there was an image. Sorry, these clips are like really bugging me. There's an image that I think it was Stephen Bartlett that shared it originally, but I've shared it a few times in the group, and it's like people think consistency is being like 100% all day, every day. But actually, so it was like an image of like loads of little circles that were coloured in red. But actually, being consistent in your business means that one of the circles might be half full, one of the circles was like all full, one of the circles might just. So if I thought there's a thing, isn't it? This, if you do something like in this industry, if you do it for 90 days, like do something consistently for 90 days, like that's where you've gained a bit of momentum. But it doesn't mean that like for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, you are on, you know, some days you might work your business like 8 hours, you might have a whole day at home, contacting customers, working with your team, watching trainings, you know, doing loads of things. Other days, you might work an hour in the morning and then that's all you do. But that's still being consistent. So I absolutely, wholeheartedly, categorically, 100% agree with that, because it's not about being, what's the word? There's a saying, isn't there? Like,
yeah, I know which one you mean. I can't think of what it
is. And
is.
all right, I'll pull a Fraser Brooks ones out the sky. You know, showering on a Sunday doesn't keep you clean for the rest of the week. So you have to do something consistently. As I keep telling my son, you need to brush your teeth every day.
And I'm a massive believer in opening my shop. I love that saying, like open your shop. Like if you had a shop, you wouldn't like rock up at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. You know what I mean? You'd open it in the morning. And I always do a morning post every morning. And it's always a cup of coffee. And I used to think to myself, oh, I need to post something else. And I thought, no, Emma, you don't need to post something else, because that's what you do every single morning. And that is what I'm posting every single morning. 9 times out of 10, it's a different mug, because I've got about 100 mugs.
Yeah.
But that's me. And my customers know that. They know that that's me. They know that, and they think it's ridiculous that I'm up that early. But again,
and also that is you showing your customers in your network a little bit of like who you are. And now the amount of people that will tag me if they see a sunrise or they see a sunset or they see a pink sky, or they'll message me or tag me and go, oh my God, I saw this and it thought of you. Nothing wrong with posting coffee daily, Bennett. No, there is not. But that is where consistency begins. Even if it's just posting a cup of coffee on your customer group in the morning. I come downstairs, if I'm in this house, like, and I say, I don't know, like one of the kids has been ill or something, and I haven't done it, I feel weird. Like I literally come down, and before I do anything else, I switch my warmer on and I put it on my stories, like every single day. Yeah. And if I feel weird. I'm like, oh, it's weird, I need to go do this. So it's about consistency, and amazing. Right, okay. Before we wrap this up, so firstly, thank you so much. It's been absolutely amazing.
Not as nerve-wracking as you think, by the way.
No, it's not. I am very, very friendly. Is there anything else, any topic, anything in relation to your Scentsy business, anything you want to share about your Scentsy journey that is going to help somebody else?
You just need to be your own best customer. If you love the products, that will 100% shine through. Like, it's like most of my posts are me just using stuff. Literally, that is it. It's not that hard. I am not, apart from working in a sports shop, my background is not sales. It never has been. And I would never have looked in a job advert and for a sales job and be like, yeah, that's me, I'm going to do that job. Not a chance. Wouldn't be me. But this isn't. It's like I just share everything that I do. Literally, people probably just get bored, but they don't. They love it. They're nosy. They like to see what we're doing. So for me, be your own best customer. Use the products, use all of them, unless you don't like them. And I think Katrina, she posted something this morning saying she's honest. She doesn't like car bars. Neither do I. And so I don't sell them. But then, like I say, if you're honest, people understand that you're being authentic. Like, I hate bakery. I can't deal with bakery smells. I can't. They make me feel sick. And my customers know that, and they know that, but they still buy bakery smells from me because they still like them. Exactly. But they know that I don't. So if I've got one, I always say to them, I'm like, I'm going to sample this bar because I ain't warming it.
There has been a couple of waxes over the last 6 years that I've been live, and I think like my face just couldn't lie, and I was like, that's unique. Chilling and grilling, or around the campfire. Honestly, but some people love them. Buzzworthy, that was another one. Buzzworthy, I couldn't bear, but I sold absolutely shed loads of it. And I said, look, this is not for me, but people love it. So yeah, you've got to be honest. You've got to be honest and let people. Actually, that's a good question before I go. What has been like your all-time favorite wax?
Kiwi fruit.
Kiwi fruit. Oh, that was like no questions asked.
No, that was one of the first samples you gave me. Kiwi fruit. So I bought my sister By the Sea, which I love as well. But that's only because she travels a lot, and that is like very much her. But no, kiwi fruit. Since I smelt that sample, my God, that
I never won that for like 2 years, and then Lisa was like, "If you've never won kiwi fruit," and I went home and I put it on, and I went out and came home and I was like, "Oh my God, it's amazing!"
Oh my God, it is literally my all-time favorite. I love it. It's on my club, obviously.
It is, and it's not on mine, so I need to get it on next time it comes back. Emma, I'm going to send you my favourite Midnight in Caracal. I don't know how to say that. Natalie,
I've never smelt that. That was lovely.
And Natalie said, "What buzzworthy? Buzzworthy is lovely." But that just goes to show everyone's scent is. Actually, drop in the comments, guys. What has everyone's favourite scent been? This will be interesting.
I know Claire's. It's Luna. Claire Clark. She's a Luna girl. She was my customer as well before I got to join.
We know Caroline's. Jammy Time.
I like Jammy Time laundry, but not wax. Random.
Palm trees and ocean breeze. Do you know what? I put that in my bedroom the other night. I found a bar and I put it in and I was like, wow, forgot how much I love this.
So good. Vanilla biscuit. No, I can't deal with that.
I can, but only in winter.
Like, really? I can do gingerbread. That's about the only bakery I can do. Randomly.
There's more people on this Zoom. We're waiting for some more waxes, people. Okay. Let's wrap this up. So thank you so much. Honestly, this has been absolutely amazing. And I really hope that whoever's listening to this back or whoever's watching. Oh, so actually, before we go, has anyone got any questions? Anything at all that you'd like to ask Emma or myself while you was just washing up? I love that. Claire, multitasking. Pima cotton, yeah, beautiful.
I love Pima cotton.
Right, best kit to get teamies.
Ask.
Yeah.
Just ask. I don't ask enough. I need to ask more too. Honest to God, all you've got to do is ask. They say no, ask again later.
Do you know what? That and do you know that is literally it. And I know I put a thing up in this was a few months ago now, but I put up a thing in the group and said, right, who wants to team me? And like loads of people were commenting, me. And I was like, right, this is my mobile number. This is send me a WhatsApp. And I think they thought I was going to give them a teaming. And when they messaged me, I said, right, okay, you said you want to team me. How many people have you asked this month? And they were like, none, or one, or, you know, I've never asked anybody. And exactly that. It is as simple as you have to ask. And it's that whole thing in your head. You build these things up in your head. If you don't ask, you're never going to find out.
You could 100% ask every single person who bought from you.
God, yeah. Imagine that. Imagine you spent all day just asking people if they've been interested in joining Scentsy.
Yeah, every single customer, brand new, not new, just ask them.
Okay, Caroline, my question to both of you, right, you can answer this first. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Right here, but doing it full time. 100% doing it full time. But yeah, I do. Bye bye, my other job.
Yeah.
Hello, Scentsy full time. Yeah, 100%. I will still be with Scentsy without a doubt. Still with about 1 million flipping warmers surrounding, literally they're everywhere, like one behind my laptop. Everywhere. Chris kills me every time. It's like, where's that one come from? I'm like,
it's free. It's free
credit.
Okay, I'll answer this, and then I think I get an hour. Where do I see myself in 5 years? Absolutely 100% categorically still with Scentsy. Like, absolutely, there's no way I'd ever leave Scentsy.
God for that.
I just want to in 5 years, my vision is I want to be doing what I'm doing now with all of you wonderful people, with a dog. I want a dog. I'm not gonna lie. We've been having this conversation today. It's literally like, I want a dog.
You're not giving in.
Oh God, no, I'm not giving in. Is that what you said? I'm not giving in.
No, I said, I'm not giving in yet.
Not yet, but he will. And I just want to be like, I just want to like live my life, work with, you know, my amazing team, work out, go on holiday, spend time with my family, and just, you know, just enjoy the business and help people to enjoy the business. Here's where
I'm down with that, Caroline.
Emma SSD, Laura Circle of Excellence.
And Caroline SSD.
Yes. Oh my God. Do you know what? Oh God, yes. Any of you that don't know what Circle of Excellence is.
I learned about this on the cruise.
Yeah, I didn't know about it at first for a while when I started, and then I watched the training and there are only 3. Circle of Excellence is basically it's not a promotion above, so Superstar Director is the top promotion you can reach, but Circle of Excellence is, and there are only 3 consultants in the whole world that are part of the Circle of Excellence. You have 6 frontline Superstar Directors that you have personally sponsored into the business, obviously all getting paid at title. They've all been paid at title. So having 6 frontline Superstar Directors. I have 2 at the moment. So I'm third of the way there. That was really bad maths. I don't think then. Clearly I'm not going to be a mathematician. But yeah, that's definitely my goals, Caroline, 100%. So that's lovely that you've said that. But just to enjoy my life, like I just want a simple, like to live by the core values of simplicity, authenticity, and generosity. Have a simple life, travel, work my business, spend time with my family, spend time with my friends, with people that love me and I love them, and just enjoy my life, and not, you know, and just enjoy helping people to grow their Scentsy businesses. That's just, you know, that is what I want to keep doing. Amazing. Right. Okay. Thank you so much. I will wrap this up now. I will share the recording. So honestly, this has been absolutely wonderful, and I am so excited to keep doing these and bring you many more amazing consultants just like Emma. And I'm going to have people on that are, you know, that might have not been in the business very long. So let's see if we can get Eddie Mitchell on, and, you know, who's been doing for all these years.
I love Eddie. She's amazing.
She would do it, honestly. She's wonderful. So yeah, thank you so much, guys. I will share this recording. Thank you so much, Emma. It has been brilliant. And yes, I will speak to you soon. Let me end the recording. Hang on, I'm going to end the recording first.